Okay, awesome. Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Nirmal, and today I'm going to present, give you a short overview of our reproducibility paper that we got published in CIR this year on how user interactions are impacted by the design of the search engine results page. And this work follows from previous work which was done 10 years ago. This work has been done with my supervisor, Claudia Huff, from TU Delft, and my colleague, David Maxwell, from TU Delft as well. So let's say I wanted to buy a camera before a trip, and I had issued a query, shop for Canon. And if I had issued this query 10 years ago, this would what a typical search engine results page or a SERP would look like. It follows 10 blue links with small snippets. So this is typically known as the 10 blue link format, but this is how a search engine results page 10 years ago looked like. Uh, you know, like uh, Going forward, let's say 5 years or 4 years in time, or 10 years in time, from 2000, we would see something like this in 2014, where the search engine results page shows more heterogeneous content. For example, here we see some photos of cameras now. We see some other additional stuff like, what we can query extra. So there are more heterogeneous content on the search engines results page. Uh, Moving forward to 2022 or in the current days, this is what it looks like. So there's much more heterogeneous content on the search engine results page. And so without scrolling, we can't even see the first blue link. So we have maps, we have entity pages, entity cards, and all other stuff on the results page. So the question is, or as a consequence, we can say that how users interact with the search and results page has also changed. For information that I could, look up by only clicking a link and reading a document, I can now see them present as direct answers or entity cards. And I don't even need a single click on the SERP to get some information. User interactions also depend not only on what content is shown, they also depend on how and where it is shown on the search engine results page. Moreover, we can also ask, how would user interactions change if we presented the results in a completely different layout? Like if the web results were present instead of links, but what if they were present in a grid format? There's this website called u.com, which recently presented results in a grid format, which also was a motivation for our study. And this is how they had presented results in a more compact manner compared to traditional list layouts. And the effect of this kind of layout on user interactions have not been explored as much as its list counterpart. Moreover, not only the presentation of the results affect user interaction, but the user interaction also depend on the complexity of the task in hand. For example, if I wanted to just let's say the venue for SIGIR, I might just hover over the first snippet and then I have the answer. So this is like an example of a very simple information need that I have and which was solved without a lot of interaction. But on the other hand, if I wanted to know, what are the things that I can do while in Madrid, I have to do more research. I might have some budget constraints, some time constraint. So I cannot just, hover on the first snippet and get my answer. So user interactions depend on the complexity of the task being undertaken. So on this note, we explore to what extent user study findings from 10 years ago on, let's say, more simpler SERPs still hold today, and to what extent the ever-evolving SERP has affected user interactions. Do users exhibit different behavior today than what they used to do a decade back? Specifically, we focus our attention on reproducing the experimental setup of two prior studies. The first one being published by Arguello et al. In 2012, and the other one being published by Shao et al. In 2014. Arguello et al. Compared the effect of task complexity on user interactions with web results and vertical results. So vertical results are the results which are taken from other verticals like videos or images, and they presented the vertical results together with the web results in a list format, and they saw the effect of user interactions. Shao et al., on the other hand, observed the effect of SERP layout on user interactions with web results. So they compared the effect of list layout and grid layout on user interactions, but they did not do any studies with vertical results. So they were just experimenting with web results which were present in a list format and web results that were present in a vertical in a grid format. Inspired by the two papers, our study is guided by the following research questions. In the first one, we ask, what is the effect of SERP layout on user interactions? So we implemented 4 different kinds of SERP layout. The first one, what we call is a simple list layout, which resembles the 10 blue link, which I showed you in the beginning. The next one is what we call a heterogeneous list layout, where we combine different kinds of result types. So it's like, for example, here, results from image and video verticals are interleaved with the list web results in a list format. We also have the simple grid layout where we just present web results in a grid format. And we also have the heterogeneous grid layout where we, again, following the heterogeneous list layout, we combine the images and videos, results from images and videos together with the web results. But here we do it in a grid format. In the second research question, we ask, what is the effect of task complexity on user interaction? So to operationalize this, we created tasks of different complexity. So for example, we had tasks of navigational intent, a typical query being Nike Air Jordan, let's say where the user wants to search the homepage of Nike's Air Jordan. We also had tasks of informational intent, where users either would have to remember a certain fact, like what clothes does Mickey Mouse wear, or they have to understand an information, like how the dams generate electricity, or where they would have to analyze, like which camera is best for street photography. And as we can see from the examples, the 4 tasks are of increasing complex information need. In total, we had 12 tasks, 3 tasks belonging to each level of complexity. In our study, we explore to what extent 8 observations hold from the Arguello et al. Paper and the Shao et al. Paper that we are trying to reproduce. For example, Shao et al. Observed that users had more fixation on the grid SERP compared to the list layout. Another observation, let's say from the Arguello et al. Paper, is that more complex tasks require more search interactions. Longer search, for example, more complex tasks led to longer search sessions, more click on SERP results page, and also more web pages visited. The Arguello paper also observed that the task complexity did not have any effect of user interaction with vertical results. So like users interacted similarly with images and videos, and it did not change with task complexity. We have total of 8 observations, and for more details on all the 8 observations that we are trying to reproduce, please look into our paper for the details on all the other 8 observations. So for our study, we recruited 41 participants from Prolific. So they started the study by filling out a pre-survey. And then each participant was randomly assigned to one of the 4 interface types that I had shown you before. So they were either given like heterogeneous list or heterogeneous grid, or simple list or simple grid. So the interface type was a between subjects variable. So each participant completed all the 12 tasks on their assigned interface. So the task was a within subject variable. Uh, and each participant had to complete all 12 tasks on their assigned interface. And they finished the task study with a post survey, which was where we measured, like the satisfaction and how, what their perceived thought was on the study and the interface. Right. So coming to the results, we saw that participants completing tasks on the list layout had greater number of interactions compared to those on the grid layout. For example, they had more clicks on web results. They also interacted more with vertical results compared to the grid counterparts. As a result, we cannot confirm one of the observations from Shah et al. That they found participants with the grid interface to have more interactions compared to the list counterpart. Moving on to task complexity, we observe that more complex tasks require more web results interaction. For example, users clicked significantly more web results for analyzed task compared to remembered task. If you remember, like analyzed tasks are more complex than remembered tasks, right? So we saw that users clicked significantly more web results. They also had longer document reading times, like more complex tasks, and also they had more session duration for understanding tasks compared to, let's say, navigation and remembered tasks. So as a result, we can say we can partially confirm one of the observations from the Arguello et al. Paper, who had found significant difference for all levels of task complexity. On the other hand, we saw that remembered tasks, which is like one of the lower complex tasks, required the most vertical interactions. Users clicked on significantly more image results and video results for remembered tasks compared to analyze and understand tasks which are more complex. As a result, we cannot confirm one of the observations from Arguello et al., who did not find any significant differences on user interactions for different levels of task complexity. Overall, we could confirm 2 observations. We found partial evidence for 4 of the previous observations, and we could not find evidence for 2 more observations. For more details on how we, like confirm or cannot confirm some of the observations, please look into more details in our paper. So in summary, we observed from our reproducibility work that the effect of SERP layout and task complexity on user interactions have remained mostly similar. However, the differences in observations from the 2 studies also has design implications. Firstly, the fact that users interested less on grid layout SERP compared to list layout SERP might indicate that introducing new layouts, which users are not used to, might lead to decrease in user interactions. This is our hypothesis. We also recently discovered that U.com, on which our study was motivated with the grid layout, had changed their SERP layout to a list format. So that might provide some evidence to our hypothesis. And also, interactions with vertical results are not only dependent on task complexity, they are also dependent on the type of information need. Simpler tasks might warrant more interactions with vertical results. In terms of reproducing, so here I focus on an interactive information retrieval study, but this might also translate to other crowdsourcing studies, is that in terms of reproducing them, we believe that having standardized templates for the specific task is very important. So for example, we did not have the source code for the interfaces of the prior studies, right? So we believe that even slightly varying the interfaces might bring in confounding variables in terms of reproducing such studies with users. Also having the tasks standardized with shared resources is also very important, so that we don't have to like reinvent the wheel every time we go about doing these studies. And this also helps us having a nice baseline, let's say. And yeah, so we won't be able to get the same set of users if we are trying to reproduce crowdsourcing studies. But as we know from previous work, crowdsourcing and lab studies has been shown to be reliable with proper controls. And this also brings us the question, like how will user interactions look like in the future as we um, uh, see more and more new interfaces. There was a recent study that or a stat that I saw that a lot of new users of web, like people who are really young, they are doing their search on TikTok, which is a completely different source or a different way of presenting results, right? So like, how will user interactions depend as we go into the future with newer and newer kind of interactions and newer interfaces? Yeah, and so that with that, I would like to finish our my talk on our paper. And yeah, if you have any questions.